Hey everybody, this is Jared Albrecht, the art sale artist here at the Longbox Crusade headquarters with another episode of I Finished It exclusively for our Patreon members, our Crusaders Club members. So if you're watching this, then chances are you are one of those members, and I want to say thank you. And if you're watching this months or years down the road, because we do slowly release them to the public, hey, maybe consider joining. If you go to patreon.com/longboxcrusade, you can join for as little as $1 a month. And this is our 44th. I finished it. And I finished Quantum Leap, the comic book series. Now, this is my fancy, and we all know how fancy I am. My fancy hardbound, okay, by the folks at Omaha Bound, who are currently not in the hardbinding business anymore. They did a great job, though. I mean, look at this cover. It's a nice little wraparound cover from the issue where Sam leaps in the body of a twin. That's this blonde female. He leaps into her twin. Anyway, so Quantum Leap comic books. Mine are hardbound. If you find them out there loose, there are 13 total issues of Quantum Leap, the comic book. They were made by Innovation Comics. Innovation was big on getting licensed comics. That was kind of their thing in the early 90s. In fact, this Quantum Leap book debuted in 1991, very much at the height of the popularity of the TV series. Now, if you know anything about the TV series, you know that, Dr. Sam Beckett, he jumps into the lives of other people throughout history, and he tries to set right what once went wrong. And that's a concept that is wide open to be just continued and continued and continued, especially if you're familiar with the final episode, and you know that his heroic feats basically can be continued for eternity. So it's a limitless idea, a limitless concept. And so it made a lot of sense to take it into comic books. There's also some Quantum Leap novels that I have a few of, but there's a good handful of Quantum Leap novels that continue the story. So if you're a big Quantum Leap fan and you watched all the shows and you think, oh, well, I guess, I've seen everything there's to see, there's 13 issues of the comics. And I don't know how many novels. If I finish some novels, maybe I'll do them when I finish it. But let's focus on the comics for now. And like I said, it can be a little challenging to find all 13. Not real hard, but because Innovation didn't do huge print runs or anything like that, it can be a little bit challenging to find all 13 issues. But they are pretty good. They're in fact, I'll say they're very good. They are very, very good. Each one does a good job. There's not a bad one in the bunch. Some of them are a little more, just like the show. Some of them are a little more adventure, some a little more mystery. So there's some humor, and some of them there's some stronger social messaging, and others, all the way down to there's a really cool one in there where Sam leaps into a guy who runs a gasoline station out in the middle of the desert, and he's literally there for hours by himself trying to figure out what he's supposed to do. So that was a cool one because basically almost the entire issue, it gets to be him and Al just kind of getting to sit down and talk. They don't get a chance to just talk a lot in the series because it's always like rapid fire adventure. And so it was kind of neat to see these two old friends sit and talk about deep scientific theory stuff and things like that. That was kind of an interesting issue, but that's just one of the 13. So what are the pluses? The pluses of this is it's a wonderful carryover from people who love the show. I mean, there's basically 13 more adventures in here waiting to be read. What are the minuses? Inconsistent art team. It's hard for them to keep a consistent art team, although it does get more consistent, I felt, in the back half, when Mike Deodato Jr. is a famous artist on like the Hulk and She-Hulk and stuff like that. He's amazing. Well, there's a Mike Deodato Sr., his dad, did like the back half of the series of Quantum Leap, and his dad's really talented too. So it was kind of neat to see Mike Deodato Sr. Show up. But art is kind of a little inconsistent, and as it kind of tends to go when you have smaller press licensed properties, because you can't sink a ton of money into a real solid art team. And I'm not saying the artists in here are cheap by any means, but sometimes due to budgetary constraints, you do have to get who you can get. So It's a bit of a roller coaster of art. It's never really bad. It's just different. It's just different art as you go. And then, like I said, it hits its stride with Mike Deodato Sr., who kind of does the last half. So a little bit of inconsistent art due to challenges of publishing and timing and things like that. The other downside is like you will finish an issue and it'll show his next leap into what they intended the next issue to be. And then something gets fouled up in the publishing process, and the next issue doesn't connect to the one before. I think that happened, I want to say twice in this series. And then they kind of have to go back later on in the back in the letters pages, kind of explain what happened and why they don't match and things like that. So slight inconsistency on the art, minor inconsistency in storytelling. Easily overlooked though. If you're a Quantum Leap fan, go find the issues. Now, this is a custom made hardcover. You're not going to be able to go find this hardcover out there in the wild. This is custom made by the good people of Omaha Bound, our friend Tim over there. So, yeah, I mean, you can't go look for this. And I don't even think the Quantum Leap books are collected in any way. You have to go find them loose. But I want to say I scored my collection. Well, about half of them I found in the wild. The other half I did on eBay. But I want to say in my searches, you can get like the full run of 13 if you're patient and you kind of take your time on eBay. I would say you might be able to nab it for about $50, 50 to $100 in there somewhere if you want all 13 issues. So happy hunting if you enjoy Quantum Leap. So some of the high points is it continues the story. It continues the lore of Quantum Leap. It gives you basically 13 more episodes. And oh, by the way, there's an issue in here just to tantalize you. There's an issue in here where Sam actually leaps into a non-human, as in an alien, which is kind of cool. So there's some interesting and creative stuff to be found in here. I think there's something for everybody, just like the show. Different tones per episode. Some of them are light and fun. Some of them are heavy and impactful. Same thing in here. It's kind of a wild ride of 13 issues. So if you love Quantum Leap, definitely go find these comics and check them out. They are a lot of fun. In fact, I'm posting this during our Keystone event, our 12 Days of Crusademas event that we do on our podcast network. And spoiler alert, when we get to my day of Crusademas, which is one of the last four, I think I'm fourth from last. That makes it episode 9, I think. Is, you know what? Let's not do math. Well, this is not Action Film Face. I'm going to do math for you. But anyway, long story short, I brought an issue of Quantum Leap to Crusademas this year. So you can hear on the podcast what the other fellas thought of Quantum Leap, the comic book, coming up very, very soon in the 12 Days of Crusademas podcast event. And for those of you who don't know, for our Crusaders Club members, you probably are in the know. But in case you don't, in case you're not as deep in our podcast world, that is a 12 days in a row event that counts down all the way to Christmas Day, where we bring sort of obscure, non-mainstream comics, like Quantum Leap's a good example, to the show to kind of give them a little more exposure. So that's something you can look forward to. So thank you again, Patreon members. If you dig Quantum Leap and you're a Quantum Leap fan, definitely check out the comics. If you just like kind of cool time travel comics, check out the comics. These Quantum Leaps are a lot of fun. They're worth hunting down out there in the wild to get your full 13 issue run. All right, I think I've gone on enough. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a Crusaders Club member, and we will see you around soon. I'm going to act frozen.